Hey, I'm Rhonnie.
And I'm Lee.
And this is Jupiter Juice, a podcast not just about vibes, but about insight, evolution, and a little bit of chaos. So today we're talking about the nodal axis, aka your north node and south node. These are not planets, but they're points in the sky that basically talks all about where you've come from and your destiny that you're working towards.
It's essentially like, I guess, an autobiography of your life. Like if there's a theme of your life, that would be
it would be these 2
trying to say.
Yeah, but it would be the 2 points in the sky, basically. That would describe the theme. So yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit about it. We're actually gonna talk about the history, and it's coming from Vedic. That's how you say it? Vedic? Yeah, Vedic astrology. But we're talking about, we want to talk about the basis of it and where it comes from. And then we'll, later on in the episode, we'll give you kind of key points when it comes to your north node and south node. And then also a small blurb on how it affects certain signs.
Alrighty, so for all the nerds out there, just a little bit of history on the north and south node. So how I started my journey with learning about it was kind of through Vedic astrology. In Western astrology, we're kind of briefly go over that. Ouroboros, that snake thing that you see around the world, whatever. I guess they used to believe.
No, I'm sorry.
What?
Be in the world tonight. That's exactly what popped in my head.
I was just listening to that. I was literally just listening to that. But anyways, Ouroboros. If you're familiar with the myth, it's just the snake that's eating its own tail. That's kind of where the myth starts in Western astrology, because the astrologers used to believe that an actual giant serpent was around the earth. So they'd be like, oh, well, yeah. So it started with that. But diving into Vedic astrology, I feel like they describe it just a little bit more in depth, and it helped me to understand the north and south node more. So if you see terms like Rahu and Ketu, that means north node and south node. So Rahu is the north node, Ketu is the south node. And it all started out with, there was this serpent demon that infiltrated the house of the gods and went to drink the nectar of the gods, which gave them immortality. And they were like, oh, I'm going to be a little bad demon and go drink the nectar.
Ooh.
But then, Vishnu, one of the gods, was like, we ain't having that. No. So Vishnu beheaded the serpent demon. And that's where you get Rahu the head and Ketu the tail. So the head and the tail lived on separately as two entities that kind of were very powerful because they were immortal and they drank the nectar of the gods. So they had the power to block out the light of the sun and the moon, which is where we get eclipses. So anytime there is a node present with the full moon and the new moon, that's when an eclipse happens. So eclipse season, blah, blah, blah. There's always a north and south node involved.
So first we're going to talk about the south node, aka Ketu, aka the tail. So basically what the south node represents, this represents your past. If we were to put it in terms where we can understand it in regards to the body and its function, it would be where we digest, metabolize, and then release. So when you think about the south node and then those terms I just stated, basically when we eat, we don't think about digesting. We don't think about metabolizing, and, we just release. It's something that is innate and it's natural to us. So it's something that we already know how to do. So when it comes to your south node, it's your, they say it's your past life. It could even be, how you were as your younger self, but it's things that you've already mastered. But it can also be something that you rely on because it's something that you're comfortable with. You don't have to think about it. And it's also where you go if you become anxious or insecure. It's a beautiful thing to have, but it's a tool that some people can get stuck in. And even poor habits that, will keep you from evolving and, growing into the next step in your soul's journey. I think the South Node at first I didn't really understand it. Honestly, I didn't really understand it for real until recently. I was like, oh, it's just my past life. Like, okay, what about it? But it's like what you carry with you. You know, I think with the North Node and South Node, they both have their yin and yang. They both have, you know, they're good and, you know, quote unquote, good and bad. But it's about alchemizing that energy from your past and using it as a tool to support you, to help you evolve into your North Node. So yeah, that's a South Node. Boom.
The North Node, on the other hand, is going to be the dragon's head. So the head, think about it. You have your eyes on your head, your nose, your mouth, your ears. You're taking in all your senses. The head wants to eat. The head is hungry. The North Node is hungry. It's what you desire. It's what you're going for. It is really what you're striving to be in this life. It's very challenging. It's very hard. You're not going to get it on your first try, your second try, your third try. You're probably going to spend most of your life striving to get to the point of your North Node. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like putting on new shoes. You get blisters. You know you look good. You look like you the shit. But you like, my feet are hurting. I can't walk in this club. Mm-hmm. But them pictures gonna look real cute.
Yeah.
So the North Node in general is a challenge, but it's worth the challenge. And it's very also obsessive energy, especially with Rahu, because you're not using your heart. Ketu contains the heart. It contains your feelings. Mm-hmm. But your North Node is very logical. It's very heady. So you're thinking, how can I get to the next step? What can I do? What can I do? So if you get wrapped up in your North Node, you can kind of get wrapped up in like, how can I logically do these things? And what's XYZ and blah, blah, blah. I know I fell victim to that when I was first learning about my North and South Node. And I was like, being like, well, shit, if the North Node is how I get to my highest path, then let me study this shit so I can fucking excel in my career. Yeah. Mine is in my 10th house. Once I did that, I started becoming very obsessive. Mm-hmm. So when you dive into Rahu energy, especially if you have like planets conjunct it, it's going to increase the energy of whatever planet that it touches, whether that's good or bad.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just thought about my chart.
Yeah. Same with K2. So like Rahu is like the increasing energy. K2 is the decreasing. So it's going to like take some stuff away, and it's gonna make you kind of not care about those things. Mm-hmm. But Rahu makes you overly give a fuck.
Yeah.
And it's good and bad, you know. It just all depends on balancing the energies and making sure that you're not just focused on one or the other.
Mm-hmm. We want to talk a little bit about our North and South Node, and you know, you may learn something from us. And luckily, we have our North and South Node in different placements, so you know, we can touch on a wide range of things. But I personally have my North Node in Capricorn in the 2nd house. You want to clap? And my South Node is directly across from that, so it'll be the 8th house in Cancer. So when it comes to my South Node, because it's in my 8th house, the 8th house is like deep rooted transformation, deep feeling, especially with me having my Venus in Cancer in my 8th house. And then also, what other sign do I have in my 8th house in Cancer? My Chiron. Anyway, my Chiron is also in Cancer in my 8th house. But yeah, as far as like what I'm naturally good at, I don't have to think about, I am a very nurturing and caring person. I also am very in tune with the dark arts, and very intuitive. And it comes naturally to me. It's always come naturally to me. And then also things taboo and deep transformation. I've transformed so much over my life. You know, the short time, I feel like it has been a short time I've been here on earth. I have transformed a lot, you know, ever since I was little. And so it's like innate. Things happen, you got to go with the flow. Yeah, I go through deep transformation within that, but it's like something that I am used to. And so I a lot of times can alchemize that energy and turn it into something, you know, great. So that comes, you know, natural for me. Now when it comes to my North Node in Capricorn in the second house. So like the 8th house is really about like my relationships and like my like people is more outside of me. I know how to take care of others, and how that can like be negative for me is like I lack boundaries for a good part of my life. So like I also felt like, you know, I'm not loved unless I'm needed. And that's something that I've struggled with tremendously, of course, leading back to boundaries. So it's like these deep connections. So like, I feel like, you know, I'm not connected to someone unless I'm giving them a part of myself. And I think that has showed up negatively in like, you know, a big thing about my life and my life path is that I am supposed to connect with my community, but I need to do so in a way where I am firm in myself and my foundation. And that leads to the North Node in Capricorn in my second house. Now, people, we know like the second house, a lot of times, especially in modern astrology, we blanket the second house with wealth, money, finances, you know, very surface level. But the second house, of course, all the houses are deep, but the second house is also about your internal value, like your self-worth. And you, once you master your self-worth, what's inside, that's how you can receive the outside part of wealth. And so like, that is my goal, like the goal in my life, or that's how I feel. Like, I really do want to be seen. I think when it comes to like my 8th house and like being seen, like I'm afraid like if one person doesn't value me, then I'm nothing, you know, and it doesn't matter about that. Does not matter. Like I have to be confident in myself, and that's something I struggle with. It's not comfortable for me to hold myself, like love myself as much as I love people outside, you know, the outside world. It doesn't come natural to me. And I was talking to my mom today about it. Like, well, I was talking to my therapist as well. So like my family is all about image and how the world sees you and dressing up and, you know, and my grandmother, I remember when I was very young, she called my mom. I was 7 years old, like 7 or 8. Called my mom and asked my mom why my kumquats look weird. Okay. Yeah, it's very like when I tell the story, it's funny, but you know, I don't know what YouTube allows. But like, no, like my grandma actually called me, and that's something. Even though like I kind of laugh about it, but I'm a person that laughs through pain, and you know, Capricorn moon, you know. But that has stuck with me. That is a memory that stuck with me. My grandmother called me, and I've always been insecure about this area of my body. And like my dad never made me feel insecure about how I looked, but he cared about his image. That was a very important. I still have my father's suits. I still have his shoes because he cared about, like, they knew him for his fashion outside of, you know, his music, whatever. My mom, you know, don't leave the house. You know, looking any type of way. My grandmother always make sure you have a pair of clean drawers on. You don't know what's gonna happen. Always, and that's real. No, but like they made hygiene in looks like a big thing, and so I always wanted to appease someone outside of me because of how I was brought up. And so what I'm working on now in my early 30s is being good with myself, and that's my talents. That is, you know, how I look, how I feel, the things that I want to accomplish in life, not being afraid of taboo things, you know, really being, hey, hence this podcast, you know, because it's considered taboo, not as much, you know, now, but it's still a thing. But yeah, that's like, and then I'll get what I want, you know, the financial stability, the, you know, the connections and, you know, the ability to be seen, but I need to master my self-worth. Yeah.
It's kind of like putting form to the 8th house matters. Like when you said starting this podcast, for example, was an example of you. I think what you were saying was like putting yourself out there. Yeah. This is self-worth. Yeah. Because Capricorn is 10th house energy too. So it's like high in the chart. So it's like it's putting form to all the feelings of Cancer and 8th house hidden energy and occult energy, and you're like bringing it to life with your
I noticed like one last little thing, like it made me think about like when I watch Sinners. I'm sorry, I love Sinners. If you haven't watched Sinners, watch it. But seeing like Annie and Sammy. So Annie, in her sense of like connecting with her ancestors and like spirituality and being confident in that. Like, because sometimes I stutter when I speak to people about like what I'm interested in when it comes to astrology and spirituality and stuff like that. And like her confidence in her power. She was the most confident person in that film. And she just knew like she would be connected with her loved ones again, no matter what happened. She wasn't afraid. And when it comes to like she knew herself. So I would say she represents like 8th house energy.
I was going to say that's a beautiful example of 8th house Cancer energy, especially the mother at the end, how she was like mothering. Yeah. And then Sammy represents what you don't know, what you can't see. So that's like, that is like the North Node, like what you don't know, like your power. You don't know your power. He didn't realize his power, but he was so powerful. Had no idea. And if his father would have kept him, if he would have stayed at the church, he would never realize his power. That was his comfort, because he went to that moment. He went to, you know, when he was thought he was going to die, he went to the word, you know, because that's something that he knew. And, you know, he may not be comfortable with it, but that's his foundation. That's what he's comfortable with. But instead of, he grew as a person, became a star or whatever, once he followed his heart. So I feel like the North Node is your heart's desire, really. I mean, I know it's like, you know, we say the heart is like South Node, you know, Ketu, but I do think it's like it's your desires and what you want. So yeah, but yeah, that's me. I'm sorry, I just had to go there because I don't be expressing myself like that for real in this way. So yeah, okay, I shut up. My experience with my North and South Node has been so my North and South Node are in Virgo and Pisces. That axis in itself is about either being very much about self-sacrificing energy, or delusion, even, I would say, because Pisces is known to be kind of delusional and like escapism. And then Virgo is too, but in a way where it's like it wants everything in this perfect little utopia so that they're comfortable. But so does Pisces, surprisingly. So it's like Pisces escapes to the dream world to kind of have a sense of control over what's going on around them, because they feel emotionally flooded and overwhelmed. So my axis is in my 10th house and my 4th house. So, and they're by themselves. So it's like my nodes are very unaspected. They're very like in a prominent part of my chart. So they are very present. Anytime you get something unaspected in your chart, or like very lightly aspected, it's kind of emphasis on the energy, because it doesn't really have support. Yeah. From the planets. So it's kind of like when a transit hits it, especially, it's like very emphasized. You're like, what's this new energy? What is this? How do I deal with this energy? So it can be overwhelming. Any unaspected planet, and these aren't planets, I guess, but whatever, you know what I mean?
But they're you know, it's still something to be aspected. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. So I guess with like, I'm going through my nodal reversal right now too. So anyone who is 27 years old out there, you're also going through your nodal reversal. And if you'll be 27 soon, that's when you go through your nodal reversal. It's right before your Saturn return. It is not a fun time. So it's like right now in the sky, the North Node is in Pisces, and it's hitting my Virgo North Node. So it's really causing me to kind of question everything that I thought I wanted from my career, because it's in my 10th house. So I'm like, oh, is that how I actually, and it's even less than career. It's about how I want to show up in the world and what I want to be known for. So it's kind of like, what do I want to be known for, first of all? And I know what I'm good at. with my Pisces, the Pisces South Node, like I came out the womb drawing. I was very artistic as a kid, very spiritual as a kid. My grandma used to be like, "You have healing hands," and she used to make me like rub her body in certain. That sounds weird and creepy. Okay, it wasn't in that way. But she had diabetes, so I was constantly like, we were just really close. So she would like pass out. I remember once, and like I had to like kind of come to her rescue a lot, and that just gives me like Virgo Pisces down because it's like healing and things like that.
And this is your grandma? We both have grandma stories. That's funny.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah. So yeah, just when it comes to like mystical stuff, I've always been tapped into that, and it's just innately came. And I remember being a kid, and I had so much energy in my hands, and I used to feel the energy building up, and I would have to like squeeze my hands and like milk them, because I'd be like, "What is this feeling?" And I would have to like literally squeeze my hands as tight as I could, or else the energy wouldn't go anywhere, because I didn't know how to move that around.
Yeah.
And right now it's happening again. So it's like it's like the gifts from my South Node are being like emphasized again in a way where it's like I have to learn how to integrate them with my North Node in Virgo, which is being organized, which is being more practical, not running away through daydreaming and things. Yeah. So when it comes to like chasing and the desires with the like Rahu, I do get a little bit hell-bent on doing things a certain way. Like I am very like nitpicky when it comes to certain things, but I don't know. I need to tap more into my North Node energy, because I'm like, I don't know. Like it's a confusing time.
Your North Node is in your 10th house in Virgo. Because my North, we both have the same North Node. No, you have your North. I'm thinking about my midheaven. My midheaven Virgo.
No.
But I think that's like, especially with it being in your 10th house though.
That's at the 17th degree, girl.
Oh yeah, I saw. So
they said you better get your ass out there.
Yeah.
And start putting that shit. And I'm not comfortable. My South Node in Pisces, 4th house. Oh, sorry. 4th house is very secluded, private. It's you're in your shell. You're in your home.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's my comfort zone. It's being in my home doing spells and shit.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be all out in the world trying to show people practical ways how to heal themselves, but that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I mean, I am trying to do it, but it's hard and it is uncomfortable.
Yeah. No, it made me realize something, like, because what you're going through and what you're dealing with is making me think about like the things I've been reading up on about myself when this, analyzing my chart is like, I have this, you could put it on, girl, don't nobody care. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. No, but I was thinking like, being seen, right? And I'm thinking about like the people that are in my life right now and their placements and the people that I've been closest to. You and Riley are like my two closest people outside of my best friend right now that I talk to on a regular basis. And you both of you struggle with the same thing. You both have very similar charts. And like his son is in his first house. So he's a hermit type of person, but he literally I swear, the arsenal my man got as far as a birth chart, please. I see why he's scared though, because a lot of people with planets in the 10th house are afraid of that, or have some type of, either maybe not issue being seen, but like maybe fame happens for them like unexpectedly, or it may be they have to go through a lot of things in the spotlight, so that's why it's scary. Like subconsciously, that's why it's scary. And that's probably what it is for you. Definitely.
I've been like naturally thrusted into that spotlight energy and like because it comes with so many eyes on you and everybody has something to say.
Yeah.
So I just remember like the projections that I would get were just like, okay, y'all doing too much.
Yeah.
It's just like, and I try to live up to those projections. And that's kind of, I think, the Virgo North Node energy is kind
Ooh,
of like
yeah.
you try to like care for or not even care for everyone, but just kind of try to get your hands in too many pots, too many people, too many. Because
it leads to people pleasing.
Yeah.
Like Virgos can be, like perfectionists. You know, it's that perfectionism gene that you have, and then you never feel like you're good enough.
Yeah.
So I resonate with that. I feel like that's very earthy. I think we both, since we both have our North Nodes in Earth, it's very.
So you got to create something.
Yeah. It's like it's foundation. Like for me it's like stability, foundation, material success, material wealth,
And
material
Earth houses too.
Yeah. Alrighty, so you may ask, how do you integrate this and how do you work with this, you know, these two energy points practically? So you can ask yourself, you know, what do you feel comfortable with, you know, in life, like your go-to traits or your go-to habits and things like that. And then what is something that you may be thinking about that you want to do, but you're fearful of it, or you have some resistance to it because you probably can't see the way towards it, or you don't feel as confident in yourself. So that could be like one question to ask. You can also ask, like, are you over-identifying with your South Node, or are you bypassing the hard work in regards to your North Node? Yeah, those are some things you can ask yourself.
Comment below what your North and South Node is. I'm curious to see how you feel like you're integrating this energy. But that's all we have for today's episode of Jupiter Juice. So thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe for more information. And do not forget that we have a freebie out.
Yes.
So go ahead. The link is in the description.
Yes.
That freebie if you want to learn how to read your birth chart.
Yes, it was very beneficial and it's essential in order to really grow in this life. Yes, that's my selling pitch.
Bye, y'all.
Yeah, bye.